Tenacious Time Podcast. It's Tenacious Time Podcast. Oh, grab your friends if you have any and come and have a great time with your host, Ricky Tenacious.
Hello, hi, and how are you? Welcome to the Tenacious Time Podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, the youngest and current and reigning defending, well, not defending because we're on a podcast, Big Valley Wrestling fighting champion, the man with the vape who will make you escape. We put the art in Pop-Tart here. It's time to get tenacious, everyone. Hello, yes, I am your host, Ricky Tenacious. Welcome to another edition of the Tenacious Time Podcast, and I'll be completely honest with you all because I consider anyone who takes the time to actually submit their ears to this torture of my voice in this podcast, I should be honest with. This podcast is completely impromptu. I would imagine this is going to be one of those podcasts that I just pull out of my butt because I don't have anything else planned or someone canceled on me that week. So I guess I might as well. This is just one of those might as well throw in podcast. And so yeah, thank you all for joining me. Today's guest is someone who I've wanted on my show since the beginning. If I could, he would have been the first episode. He's a dear friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a good husband. He's a good friend. He knows the infamous Shane. He is the co-owner of Ley Z Eye Productions. He's one hell of a mind. He's a great writer. He's a great listener. He's a great filmmaker. He is a great just about anything he puts himself to. Also, he can play the bass really, really, really good. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, George Elias.
Seriously, who are you talking about, man? But, well, thank you for that. There's no way I can live up to all of that, but thank you so much. Glad to be here on the Tenacious Podcast. Yes, you are the defending champions.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're challenging me? Is that what's going on here?
No, because I'll lose. Unless it's a no DQ, then maybe I might have a chance.
Or maybe it's like an ice cream eating contest. I know the stories. I've seen the pictures of you. I was there too when you joined the Goofy Goober ice cream eating challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you tore that shit up, man. You tore that shit up.
Oh yes.
I mean, it was so brutal. It was like a cow snuff film.
Yes.
That's how bad it was.
That pistachio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like that, maybe I could win. So
I guess I'll go ahead and give these people some update of how we met and stuff. You attended a Big Valley Wrestling show.
I've actually been to two.
Okay.
The first one I went to, though, I didn't meet you. I just happened to go and I saw it, and I was like, hey, cool. I like wrestling, so I went to go watch it. The second one, a good friend of the infamous Shane, as you called him. Sorry, that was my phone. His name's Ross. He was like, hey, let's go check out some wrestling, so I went. And then I saw you, and after that, I don't really remember exactly how it is that you and I met.
I think I know you added me on Facebook, and then I would probably want to say maybe I saw your podcast, and I saw that you would comment on statuses of mine or statuses wrestling related, so I knew you had to be like a wrestling fan. And I'd known at that time it was probably around the same time that I attended the infamous and inceptuous for me Kevin Smith Q&A, where basically, at the end of every question he answered, he always alluded back to how everyone should start their own podcast.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not a podcast.
Wow,
pretty awesome. So anyway, I watched your podcast, and I'm pretty sure I contacted you and asked to be on it, and you came over, and I gave you some pretty tenacious answers.
The wrestling one? Yeah, the wrestling? Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm not ashamed to admit it. Yes, I am a wrestling fan. Although, for those listening, I did have a podcast before.
Yes, the Medium Rare podcast.
Yes, not anymore. It got me in too much trouble. Let's just be real. It did. But yours is better than mine. It's much more together. It's put together. It's actually you have it. Whoa, sorry, that's the mic. So yours actually is every week. It sounds good. If this one sounds a little weird, because of...
Yeah, it's just so if everyone's wondering how I went to really clear, awesome clarity of or quality of my mic, and this episode it sounds really shitty. Because like I said, this is gonna be an episode I just pull out of my ass one day. I'm not gonna have anything else planned. I'm gonna be too busy. I'm like, all right, plan Ley Z Eye Productions.
The lazy plan.
Yeah, the lazy plan.
Well, I've noticed in anything that Shane or I do, it's the Ley Z Eye thing. It's very meat and potatoes. Because when we went on a radio interview as well, it didn't exactly go as it normally does. So everything just always seems to be very bare bone with us. It sounds very gross, but
Oh, bare bone. Yeah, look at bare bone, you baby. Anyway, just before we get into some questions for you here, I just want to take this time. I know the listeners can't see what my surroundings are, but I have my communications textbook, a half out filled Scantron, and some notes because I am totally procrastinating with this podcast right now. That's how much I wanted George on my podcast, that I'm willing to stop the homework I have to do, which I'm not even halfway done with, by the way. It's due tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Okay, I just want to say I repeat, I do not condone procrastination.
No.
Okay? No. You know you've done it, don't do it. All right?
No, it's many times.
If you procrastinate, you'll get AIDS and die.
Is that a PS2 over there?
Hey, let's not switch off topics here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we are in a very luxurious and expensive recording studio that I record every episode in. And
it's actually got good AC too.
Yes, good AC. The PS2 stands for the Podcasting System Tech
version 2.
Version 2. Yeah. Yes, the Podcast System Tech version 2 is the podcast system version tech for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so anyway, let's go and get some questions here. So yes, he is the owner of Ley Z Eye Productions. It is a really awesome short film. What do you think would be the right name for it? Like filmmaker group?
Well, we're a small production company.
There we go.
Oh, for the record, it is Ley Z Eye, because most people get that misconception. They spell Lazy, and they're like, I can't find you. Well, it's Ley. So
is there a reason why it's spelled like that? Just to be different, or is there a meaning behind it?
Well, Shane was the one that came up with the name Ley Z Eye.
Okay.
Because we both have lazy eyes. Mine is nowhere near his. And me being half Mexican, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spell it Ley in Latin. It means the law. It's all when you kind of, how do I put it? It's like in my mind, I was like, we'll be the final word when it comes to filmmaking. Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
So when you have those dreams and aspirations, that's why. So.
Oh, very interesting then. So, how did you and Shane is the co-owner of Ley Z Eye Productions with you?
Mm-hmm.
How did you two meet? Actually, hold that thought, because that's actually going to transpire right into our first question that just came to my mind. What was the inception of Ley Z Eye Productions, and within that, like, of course, you had to meet Shane to get that going. So, what was the inception? Like, probably before, like, you were doing the podcast, or during? Have you like just always wanted to do this? What's up?
The inception. Oh boy. Well, I've been a writer since I was 5. I really like the studio. I've been a writer since I was like 5. I can't remember 4 years old, so I'll say 5. And I pretty much got tired of taking my scripts and my ideas to local filmmakers, and they always either would say flat out no, or they would tell me, yeah, let's do it. And then I'd get the crew, I'd get the cast, I'd get the locations. And then comes the day, and they'd be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do it." I'm like, can you at least tell me why? And they wouldn't, And I pretty much got tired of having to wait on other people. So then I said one day, you know what? Maybe I'll just start a production company of my own. And then segueing into that question, I met Shane on set of this local film, which I will not say the name of. I don't know if I can get in trouble for that or not. So.
It was the one gay porn I did that one time. I was low on money. I needed new wrestling gear.
Hey man, it was impressive.
It was very tenacious.
Yes, it was extremely tenacious. But what I really liked about it was the camera angles. I learned a lot from it. Thank you. So yeah, I met him on set of this film. I played a cameraman for like a news channel or whatever with my co-star, who I thought we were cool. But if she's listening, yeah, we did. Anyway, I don't care. And yeah, so Shane, everybody just seemed to be really uptight on set for some reason. Everybody was just angry. And Shane, there was 2 people. One's called Alfonso. They call him Big Mac. He's listening. He knows who he is. Good man. Real good man. Great actor. And the other one was Shane. And I seemed to hit it off with Shane. We started talking, and, he told me how he's usually background or, like, extra acting. He hardly ever really gets a lot of speaking roles. And he kind of wanted to grow as an actor. But I've noticed that locally it's kind of hard. Some people won't give you a chance, which is weird to me. It's like, what experience do you have? None. Will you give me a chance? No. So then Shane and I kind of talked, and we were like, you know what? Why don't we just build our own road? If you can't go the main road, just make your own road. I know that sounds really weird and preachy, but it's the best I can do.
Yeah, that's I couldn't really put in any other way myself. I mean, I've met tons of people like yourself and my good friend Colton, who would pretty much be the person I would start something like that up with. But he's the infamous Colton, who I always talk about, but is never here, unfortunately. So with that, you've made a few films already, of various types, various styles, I should say. So
we have over 100 productions in under a year. So.
Yeah. So one of my questions is because I've watched a lot of your videos, most of all of them, and all of them. That. Yeah, definitely. And likewise, thanks for being here. It seems they're always. I don't know, because I feel like I've never myself. I'm a filmmaker too, and I feel like I've never really made the short films you have. And what I mean by that is my short films always have like a definite I'm just into like really weird stuff, and then other ones I put a lot of work into will have like a clear beginning, middle, end. And it seems like no disrespect or anything, I don't mean this in a bad thing, but a lot of your films are just seem to be like snippets of a bigger picture. Like the one you recently released, which was I forgot the name of it, but the guy or girl who was walking through the park takes it. I think it was called Shortcut.
Yeah, Shortcut. Yes.
And it was just this guy running through, and then at the end, it's just essentially most of it was walking with scary lighting and music, which is pretty much what you'll see in most horror movies.
Mm.
And then he gets taken away, and then it cuts to black.
Mm-hmm.
So is that just your style, or is that like do you, when you put these movies out in that style or format, do you expect to bring a bigger picture or bring a sequel, or is that more of like you post it and see what people think about it, and if they really want it, then you'll do it?
Oh, well. Again, put me on the spot here, Rick. So tenacious.
That is what the show is all about, baby.
I've come to realize that. And again, this is a very nice studio. What's it called? What are you laughing about? I'm serious. What was I saying? Oh yeah. About for the film, the length, if you will, and as for the ambiguous and the open endings. Well, open endings, I like them because a lot of films nowadays, I feel that they spoon feed you. Mm-hmm. Like they pretty much like, this is the ending. Here you go. They just. There you go, the end. Which is fine in some cases, but I don't know. I grew up reading a lot of old school, thriller and suspense. Horror didn't really exist back then. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm an old man, kids. Old soul, whatever you want to call it. And as for the length, the reason why I make them that way is because I've noticed that a lot of people nowadays, their attention span is not what it once was. And I watch short films ad nauseum, like crazy, and I've seen some films that are, let's say they're 20 minutes long, and when they're done, the first thing that comes to my mind is that could have been 8 minutes shorter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where there'll be like a long portion where they're just talking and nothing is happening. Like they're not even building character in that. They're not explaining the plot. So it's like, the reason why we make them the length they are is because, most people's life now is on the go.
Yes.
They're just on the go. They don't have time to sit down and watch stuff. Everybody's on their phone. So I figure if I make it 1 minute, 2 minutes long, or even 5 at the most, people just watch it while they're in the elevator, watch it while they're sitting in traffic, whatever, their break at work. It's like, oh, it's only 2 minutes? Cool, I can watch it,
Okay.
So the time it takes you to write 3 text messages and receive 3, that's like 2 minutes. So you can watch it. Just there you go, boom. So yeah, that's really why we do it. And as for you saying it seems like it's part of a grander story.
Yes.
Well, yeah. All of my stuff, our stuff. I'm the overall writer, but sometimes I write with Shane as well. I'll come up with things that are they are like a part of a grander script. But as I said before, and it's kind of hard to get people to get really psyched, So especially with the invention of YouTube and Vimeo, it's don't sue, by the way. They're great outlets, but it's so oversaturated. You know what I mean? That you have to find a way to make something that really catches their attention. I apologize for the lengthy answer.
It's fine. I had a lengthy question. I'm sure I'm going to go back on this and I'm going to think the ending of the question's coming up, but it's really not. That's fine. I was encouraged. I honestly love lengthy answers.
Uh-huh.
They usually transparent.
What is it with you and length?
Have I said that?
Yeah,
have been saying the word length, or you just think
it's almost an insinuation. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. That's okay.
Well, I mean, I love the movies of Quentin Tarantino. He's never made anything shorter than 2 hours.
Fantastic.
He's all about lengthening stuff out. So speaking of lengthening stuff out and expanding stories in a way. Of course, I'm sure not every idea you've ever had has gone onto screen, you could say. So are there any, as a writer, because you said you do a majority of the writing, I have the same problem. Is I come up with movie ideas every day, like or most of the time it usually starts with like a certain scene that I'll have in my head, and then I'll just stick with that and kind of, either if it's at the beginning or the end or the middle, I kind of just make it grow roots to grow, the whole tree. So I'll start writing a starting script for it, you could say, or like a
rough draft.
Yeah, a rough draft is a better word.
Sorry to cut you there, but the 3-act structure is very good.
Yeah.
The beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. I know it's been done to death, but it is a very.
But the problem is, I never get to the end because I don't think I've ever really completed a script, because usually I run in not really writer's block, but more of just the thought of, man, I don't know who's ever gonna really watch this. I don't know if anyone's gonna be interested in this. I feel like it's gonna be a venture that I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to finish. And then other than that, it's usually just not being confident about it, not really knowing where it's gonna go. Mm-hmm. Is this really gonna be something? Which is usually the big one. Like, am I gonna put something out and it's only gonna get like 50 views? Is it really worth my time and effort and stuff like that? So have you ever ran into any problems like that where you just don't feel confident, or maybe even you're in the midst of making a film and you just don't finish it because it's either not coming to how you want it, or it's just not meeting your vision?
Oh yeah, actually, if you go to our YouTube channel, we have a trailer for a film called Prince, Prints. And it just, I remember during editing and watching it, and just, and that's when I was still learning a lot, as far in terms of lighting and structure, if you will. I remember watching it back during editing, because I'm also the one who does the majority of the editing. And editing really, really opens your eyes. I'm sure you've seen that.
Yes.
Because you could be doing stuff and you think it sounds great or looks great, and then during editing, that's where you catch so many things.
Editing is definitely where you'll have an arrow strike you in the back and go, wow, I don't know about this.
Editing makes or breaks you, and it's really tough when, for example, you see something that you didn't catch during filming, during editing, and the problem is you can't exactly go back to reshoot it. That's where it's tough. Okay. You know what I mean? But anyway, that film Prince, it was. I had the script, I had everything planned out, and it just. I remember watching back and editing and playback. It just wasn't sitting right. And then we got to this big issue because there was child actors in it, and that's always an issue for any of you up and coming filmmakers out there. Involving children in film is always difficult, because there's certain laws. You can't work them for too late or too early, or too much for at all. And then, it's just, it's hard. And you got to have parental consent, release forms, all this stuff. I have gone through that. I completely feel you on that. But you make interesting stuff. Yeah, that one film that I really like. That was it Always on Time?
Always Late.
Always Late. Yeah. That thing, man.
Interesting story about that.
Isn't Colton, the famous Colton, in that?
Yes, the famous Colton is in that. Yeah. Go check out my short film Always Late, starring the infamous Colton, who I've mentioned on here multiple times now, and still will until he is on here himself.
Come on, Colton.
Please get out of Colorado and stop doing Mormon stuff. Gosh. Yeah. But anyway, Always Late was actually meant to be a opener for our morning announcements, because I really wanted to make an elaborate, action-packed opener for the show.
Okay.
Because they've made those before, where the two hosts are like in a big adventure to get back to the studio on time to record the show. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of my take on it. Problem was my elaborate ideas always run really long on screen. So we had certain lengths we would have to go by. There's his length again. We'd have to go by certain lengths of videos, or either they're basically just, if they're too long, then they're not going to play on the announcements, because they claim that teachers don't want their students watching a video they don't need to be watching. And so I made this opener video, all badass and stuff, and so I turned it in, and my teacher, Mr. New, was like, this just isn't going to happen, because it's just, your videos are too long. They're good videos, but if you were to just shorten them down, then I can put them on. And that kind of hurt because, like, I feel like I put a lot of time and effort into that. So that's why I was just like, F it. I'm just gonna, and so I posted it on YouTube for people to see. And, I hope anyone who comes across it or watches it because of this or watches it in the future and didn't even hear this podcast, I hope you feel some type of inspiration from that. Because not every, there's video production students, and then there's not every video production student who can produce a film like that, or just be afraid to totally break the rules and lay it out on a platter.
Well, if I may, you make several good points there, but I will disagree with some.
Okay.
Well, not disagree, but I'll give my take on it because I never went to film school.
Yeah, neither did I. Well, I kind of did though, video production. I was thinking of college for a second. But
any kind of form like video production, any of that editing, none of it. But I did study film a lot, and I read like crazy. Well, see, here's the thing. School, I'm not down talking it. Going to film school and everything, that's great. It has its plus and its minuses. But it's just so corny, but it's actually from Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon. He said it clearly. He goes, you don't get anywhere by following the rules. Oh no, rules are not meant to be followed. Oh no, wait, what is it? You don't get anywhere by following the rules. You get somewhere by seizing the moment.
Ooh.
And the thing is, if you make your films that are long, right?
Yeah.
And people told you, oh, they're too long, or this and this and this. I've had people constantly tell me about that. Oh, your films don't look that good. I don't have thousands of dollars to buy a camera, And then, as we were speaking earlier before we went on the air, about the Blair Witch Project, for example, love it, hate it, indifferent to it. It was a success. Same with the Paranormal Activities, and in reality, they made it with like
nothing.
Yeah.
It could have just passed as one person with a camera.
Exactly.
And some actors who are in on whatever it is they're doing.
Little to no budget, know. And there's a video out there that I'm not going to plug because it actually made me really angry. But it is about a guy and involves a GoPro, right? And through that, he got sponsored by GoPro. So, and that video I think was like 40 minutes long, and it's just monotonous. So if people tell you, oh, your films are long, like for example, Quentin Tarantino, you love Quentin, right?
Oh yeah.
For example, Quentin Tarantino, that guy, has he ever made a movie that's under an hour? No. You can actually find his short films when he was in college. Look them up. Those things are like 30 minutes too. But that's what the thing is. He discovered, this is my niche. I'm going to do it. And that's what I tell a lot of local filmmakers. Write what you know. If you're a comedic person by nature, write comedy. If you're a serious person, write dramas. If you love horror and gore, write horror and gore. You know what I mean? Write what you know. And then once you feel that you got that down, experiment in other things. But never be afraid to experiment. Never ever be afraid. Your film, the what I've seen, because I saw the Bay one. Yes, I am a fan of Ricky Tenacious. The Bay one, it was interesting. It was funny. It was funny, but I will say that I get what they say about length. That one seems like it could have been a skit.
Yeah, that's usually what a lot of short films are for me, are just skits.
Yeah, as opposed to a film.
Yeah.
So because you by nature, you're a very comedic guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's why our short film stood out.
Facsimile.
Facsimile.
Oh, facsimile. Sorry.
Yeah, facsimile sounds nice, but not facsimile.
That's the facsimile.
Yeah. Because that was more of I think that was more of a serious role for you.
Yeah. I was actually, honestly, one of the biggest critiques I got in high school when I was doing acting classes was the reason why I got, in so many roles that I auditioned for, or got into every play, every production there was because I was always someone that a theater teacher would want to see in their class, someone who's naturally outgoing and not afraid to take the stage, but I would always kind of just bring this goofy character that you would associate Ricky with. Like I'd always put my like a kind of goofy spin on it, and so I really wouldn't. They felt like I really wasn't acting. Like I was more so just being Ricky instead of being the character they needed me to be. And so I got a serious role in this play, in this short one act called The Game of Death, I want to say, or The Game of Life. I think it was The Game of Life, and I played the part of Death, who tries to pursue a girl who's on the verge of suicide to commit suicide, rather than staying alive with a girl named Life. It was a very interesting play.
That already sounds compelling. Can I see that somewhere?
I think I know there's versions of it on YouTube that aren't the best. I don't think anyone filmed my version. I think I may still have the 1-act script. So if you want to read the script, you're more than welcome to.
Or that too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I felt like I was never really acting, and then the role in the game of life kind of helped me out. But Facsimile, I was really surprised when I saw myself on the screen, because this is kind of a subjective and weird thing that I feel, is that I can't enjoy my own art. Like, what I mean is I don't watch. Well, I usually watch my own matches, like, after I wrestle, but I never will watch them for fun, or I will never watch them because I feel actually intrigued or egotistical enough, I could say, to actually watch my own match, or watch like a short film I was in. Like, I'll show it to my friends, but I'll never watch it on my own. And so that was the first time I really felt like, wow, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe I'm actually doing this serious role. I feel like I actually pulled this off.
Yeah, well, I know from people in my personal circle, they were impressed by it, and they told me, like, oh, that guy, they love the chemistry between you and Shane. Shout out to Shane. Semper Fi, you'll know what that means. So like, well, you got to realize, you say you're a funny guy, you're a comedic person, but where does most comedy come from? From a dark place. Mm-hmm. Most comedic people, goofy people, have a darkness to them. Yep. You may not think it, but me at work and in school, by a lot of people, I was known as the goofy guy. I used to always joke around, but it always comes from a dark side. You have to let that out somehow. Yours isn't wrestling, mine is in weird short films. So
yeah. So speaking of filming, what's out of all the films you've made, what would you say is the funniest? It doesn't have to be the specific movie I'm asking about. It's more just how you felt, like, writing or directing it and filming it. What was the funnest day on set for you, and what has been the most stressful or most like the worst day on set for you as a filmmaker?
Yikes, that's interesting. Well, stressful is, we have a short that's called Say What that wasn't very well received. I'll be the first one to say it. It was probably one of our lower ones. I mean, it still got over 100 views, which I consider a blessing, but it wasn't well received because, like, when you read the script, everybody who read the script involved with it was, they were like, oh, it sounds like an interesting idea. It just didn't translate well, if that makes any sense. It's like when you read a book and it's really good, then when they try to make a movie out of it, it just doesn't work. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? And yeah, just that movie, I think it was stressful because that's the biggest cast we've had to date. I think it was 9 or 10 actors, several locations all over, the valley. So that was stressful. So, and then that's when we really didn't know much about anything, didn't have any lighting, so we did the best we could with what we had. And most fun, most fun I'll probably say was Bon Appetit. That's the one where Shane plays a killer chef, if you will, a cannibalistic chef. The reason why I was so fun is that was my first time probably directing, like somebody else, not just myself, and see, and it was our first time Shane and I working together, Bon Appetit, and I was, even though it's like somebody who says, what, I'm gonna make my own business, for example, right? And they get the building, for example, like they get the lease, and even though they have no furniture in it, they have nothing in there, but the fact they got the building, or they got the copyright on the name, or they got the stickers, or whatever, that's great. It's like when you say, oh, I'm going to be a wrestler, for example, right? And you get your first pair of tights, for example, or your boots, or whatever, or your first lace of the boots. Even if you lose your first match, the fact that you go out there, you're like, cool. To you, that's like WrestleMania, if you the Garden, even though to people it's like, dude, you just wrestle in front of 2 people. What's the big deal? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Bon Appetit was definitely the most fun because it was, I mean, they've all been fun, but that one has a special moment because it was the first one where he and I were together. And the most stressful, probably Say What. So
awesome, man. Yeah, we go, as artists, we go through struggles with our own projects every day. Mm-hmm. Before I get off your hair and you get off, my coffee table, and we get off this microphone, I understand you are trying to you're trying to make your own version of the cult horror film The Shining.
Yes.
So go and just shed some light on that.
The Shining. Well, I've read the parts of the book. wasn't able to finish it, and I watched the Kubrick film I don't know how many times, and I even checked out a little bit of the series, and they're all unique in their own way. They're all good, and, in their own right. But obviously, I have more time with the film than I do with anything else, and it's just, I don't know. Well, when we rebooted the Twilight Zone that you can find that on our YouTube channel. Yeah, I was actually well received by people, so I was like, you know what? I always enjoyed The Shining. Shane did too, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's just throw it out there. And it actually all started from a random post I did on Facebook. I just put out there like, oh, I feel like rebooting, not remaking. There's a difference, ladies and gentlemen. A remake is when it's verbatim exactly the same. A reboot is where you take an existing property and you say, you know what? This is how I would do it. You know what I mean? So, and I just threw it out there. I was like, I want to reboot The Shining with, a couple of my friends, just jokingly. And I got so much feedback from people. Like, oh, when does that come out? Is that true? Is that legit? Are you really doing it? So then I erased that post and I put a new one up. And I said, hey, if I was to do this, would you? Or no, I recorded a little video on my phone. I was like, if I was to do that, would you really want to see it? And it was so overwhelmingly positive that I was like, okay, fine. So, we have the GoFundMe page.
Which the link to that will be in the description if you want to go fund that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We're trying to raise $3,500, which is looked down upon, frowned upon by a lot of local filmmakers.
Yes.
They're like, well, can you even make anything with that? I've made a film with no money, and I made a film with $5. So imagine $3,500. It can be done, but I think it's just most people ask for $10,000 to $20,000, and all I begin to wonder is how much of that really goes into your project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it, marketing, and I get all that stuff, and yeah, you can make it happen with $5,000, but I know it's gonna make me hated by a lot of local filmmakers, which I already am, so who cares? But so yeah, The Shining, it's my take on it because I love the film, but I felt that it left a lot of things in it could have been done more intensely, if you will.
Yeah.
Or even not better because you can't top it, but I can't think of.
You just feel like it could be enhanced.
Yeah, I just feel that in my weird mind, it's when, like, for example, like how Bob Dylan, even though he wrote All Along the Watchtower, he always said, even though I wrote it, Jimmy, was the one that gave it life. It's like, I know Stephen King wrote The Shining and everything, but I feel that part of me feels like, I can reinterpret it in a much darker and intense way. So hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, I'd honestly be very interested in seeing that. If you did that, I wouldn't even mind helping out.
Oh no, you're gonna be in it.
Oh, definitely, yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah.
I got a role for you.
Damn. Do you think you can share what that may be to get that?
What, your role?
Yeah.
No, I can't. I cannot. But I can say that it's definitely your part will have a very intense scene.
Okay.
It definitely will. You will have slight comedy in it, but not too much.
Right.
So it is gonna be an intense scene in the film.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it very much.
Yeah. Hopefully if we can raise the funds, man. Hey, you get to see Ricky.
Yeah.
In it.
Again, link to the GoFundMe for this for the Shining reboot that George is doing will be in the description. Please go over there, donate a few bucks. It'll mean a lot. I want this to happen. Please. George wants this to happen. And hopefully all of you guys want this to happen. So with that, George, it has been a long time coming. I was on your podcast, and now you're on mine. This is quite the parallel.
Right.
Thank you very much for joining me. Really enjoyed speaking with you.
The studio, man.
Yes, the studio.
Man,
honestly,
I can't get over this.
Believe me, you got to get on the show. Hit me up, Ricky Triforce Tenacious on Facebook, and my YouTube channel is Tenacious TV. Give that a subscription if you haven't, and like this video. Share it with your friends. Maybe tell them about how bad it was so they can watch my other videos to see how bad those are too, but then they'll end up watching them and give me more views. So in the end, you guys really lose. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. If you have anything else you want to plug or to close us out, go ahead and say it now.
Okay. So now just check out Ley Z Eye Productions, LeyZeye Productions. And this is actually a shout out, not shout out, but this is if you will, an invitation to any and all local actors. Especially the ones that are stuck in the background and extra. Check out our films, check out what we do, and we're always willing to give you a chance. Good, bad, or indifferent, whether people like you or not, we will give you a chance for a speaking role, for a lead role. You know what I mean? Even if it's a short film, you can still put that in your what do they call that? In your in your reel.
Yeah.
So anyone out there who's interested in working with us, contact us. Shane or myself. Yeah, and please, if you can, support for the GoFundMe page for The Shining, and check out the Tenacious Time podcast with Ricky himself, this tenacious guy right here.
With that, as we've been talking about, anything can happen if you just set your mind to it. If you just say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do it my way, and people are gonna like it, and some people are gonna hate it, and wherever it takes me is wherever it takes me. And that's Tenacious. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Later.